All right. Hello, everybody. I see I've got a few people in here. This is my first time doing a live video, so we'll see how it goes. But looks like we got a few people in here so far. I just wanted to go ahead and do like a quick video. I didn't really want to plan it out because then it's going to end up taking me like a week to figure out what I'm going to say and stuff like that. So I thought I'd just do a quick video talking a little bit about the new seller updates. They came out today for spring. People are freaking out as usual. I see we've got Lauren in here, and Gail, and Debbie, and who else do we have in here? And Vicky. What's up, guys? Thanks for coming. I would say, I don't really have anything like specifically planned. So if anybody has any questions or comments or something that they want me to talk about as far as this new update goes, I'm still kind of like figuring out what's up with it, kind of processing it. But overall, I actually think it's a really good update. I think that for the most part, it is giving us better tools to use so that we can be better sellers. But I think I just want to go right into the thing that most people are freaking out. And Gail, you are correct. People freak out about every seller update. But I will say that this one does have a bigger thing happening that people are kind of freaking out about. And of course, I am talking about the scary, scary free returns. So free returns. I just recently switched over to doing free returns. I get why it sounds scary when you think about it on like an item by item basis. The idea of somebody returning something and you having to pay for them to ship it back, it sounds like it's going to cost you more money. But what I really want people to think about is the fact that there's loads of research about this. Lots of research has been done about buyer psychology and what it is that makes people buy things. And what they found is that not only having returns, but also having free returns is going to result in you having more sales. And so if you can look at it as a possibility of you getting more sales as opposed to losing money, yes, there might be a small increase in people wanting returns, but is there going to be a bigger increase in people wanting to buy from you? And that's where you're going to end up making more money. So let's see, what are people saying over here? Debbie, life, love, and business always changes. We can grow with it or choke under it. Very good point. I think that what today is all about is adaptability. You have to be able to adapt to changes as they come. If you know me at all, you know that I'm like a super ridiculously positive person. And I tend to always want to look at the positive of things. So whenever I see a new update coming out, I'm kind of excited of like what new tools there are that are going to hopefully make me a better seller. I tend not to be worried about, the negative side of it or what could possibly go wrong. I'm just excited that there might be something that's going to make things better for me. So like the free returns. eBay was pushing free returns back during eBay Open. And I was like, I'm totally going to try that out. Well, it literally took me almost 6 months to actually do it. So even I dragged my heels a little bit. But I did take it on just before this update happened. And I am excited to see what happens with it. I was just reading some research about the whole return psychology. And the thing about free returns, you're building buyer confidence. They want to feel like you are confident in your product, so that they're going to want to buy from you. But it's not just about getting the sale now, it's also about getting future sales. And so what research has shown is that when you have free returns as opposed to paid returns, not only are you potentially going to get more sales now, it actually will increase future sales because they're going to want to come back. So that makes sense to me because, the last paid return that I did was on this jacket, and it was kind of a heavy jacket. I have been charging shipping up until recently. And so the buyer paid $12.95 to get this jacket shipped to them. I mean, it was an expensive jacket. It was like $150. So they paid $12.95 for shipping. They shipped it to them. It turned out to not fit them as well as they wanted. It was like a little small for them, even though I had the measurements in there, but they got it. It just didn't fit right. So they opened a return. And the way I had it set up was the buyer pays returns. So they had to return it to me and pay $12.95. So they paid $12.95 both ways. And then I returned them the cost of the jacket. So sure, it sounds great. Wasn't out any money. I got to relist it. I'm going to sell the same jacket again. I'm not worried about that. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, okay, they paid $26 and they didn't get anything. They ended up with nothing. So what does that mean for the next time they go shopping? They're probably not going to, for one thing, they might not want to buy from me again. They might pay more attention to return policies. And so it might affect like how they decide to buy something in the future. And that doesn't really sit well with me. Like I think I would rather them have had a better shopping experience. And even if it didn't turn out that the coat fit them, at least they weren't out $26. And so the research shows that that actually does make a difference. All right, let's see. What are you guys saying over here? So Lauren says she only got returns on clothing, never had an international return on anything, so she's not that worried. She'll just adapt. Again, you are gonna get returns. Okay, so here's another thing I was thinking about today. I feel like a lot of us online sellers have a really unrealistic expectation for how our sales should be going through. We have this idea that like we should never have a problem, we should never have a return, we should never have ever run into the quote unquote bad buyer. And I just think that that's not how it works in sales. I think that the amount of problems that we run into is very small, but it does happen sometimes. But if you've ever worked in like a brick and mortar store, or you've ever I worked for years in retail. I worked in the music stores. And it was like on a daily basis, we would deal with people stealing things from the store, people breaking things. There was a lot of product that went out the store that didn't get paid for. It just happened. And so, most retail, pretty much all retail companies, it's like they have to think about shrink. They have to worry, they have to like build that into their bottom line that like the certain percentage of stuff is going to go missing or get damaged or all those things, right? As online sellers, like we hardly have to deal with that. Like we don't, nobody's stealing or nobody's walking into our inventory. Nobody's walking into my garage and like walking out with like loads of merchandise. I do have returns, but it's like my returns are like about 2%. I don't know the exact number, but it's not that high. And so this expectation that if things aren't going perfectly 100% of the time, then there's something wrong. I think that we are setting ourselves up to be really disappointed when things do go wrong. And I think if you have the attitude that, occasionally things are not going to work out and a buyer is not going to like the thing that they bought from us and they're going to want to return it. I think having that attitude going into it, it's going to make it a lot easier to deal with the problems when they do come up, and you'll be better equipped to handle them in like a really professional way and just move on to the next sale. Let's see. And so Vicky's bringing up a good point. I'm not watching the whole conversation, but she's talking about changing all of her listings. But she did have like 34 listings that she excluded because they're super heavy. Okay, so that's a really good point. Like a lot of people are freaking out. Like I've got stuff that costs a lot to ship. And it's like the idea of like, okay, I sell this thing, it's $30 shipping. They decide they want to return, I have free returns, and I'm out a whole nother $30. Well, this policy isn't necessarily going to be appropriate for every single category, every type of item that you sell. And so there's no reason why you can't pick and choose which things that you want to have the free returns on. So for me, I'm doing it on everything, but I sell exclusively clothing. So it's like the highest price thing I have to ship is maybe $15 at most. And for me, it's like I'm kind of banking on the idea that I'm going to get way more sales to accommodate a small potential increase in returns. But I do get it. Like if you sell, Vicky does sell some really heavy hard goods. And, sometimes she ships something that costs like $45 to ship. So it makes sense to me that she wouldn't have free returns on that particular item or those certain categories. And so, you just wouldn't get, if you are getting top rated seller plus your 10% discount in seller fees, you're not going to get it on those few items that you decide to charge return shipping on. But everything else, you can still get your discount. So there's no reason to be freaking out right now. All right, we got, Audrey Tracy's in the house. Just type in that web address. I don't know what you guys are talking about. So now, another thing is just recently, I think it was like an hour or so ago, I saw something pop up in my eBay messages, and it was a promotion that's going on. I don't know if it's going to they always say like, select sellers get this promotion or whatever. I think probably everybody's getting it, but it's basically a promotion that you just accept to be a part of it. And it's over the next month. If you are doing free returns, eBay will actually pay for the return shipping for any remorse return. So anybody that returns something, and it's in set categories. I can actually look right now and tell you. I think I have it somewhere in here. So basically, it's a good way for you guys to like try out this whole new idea of doing free returns if it sounds really scary to you. So basically, if you activate this offer that they sent out, and you're going to do free 30-day returns, then for the 30-day period, including 40 days after that for any items sold during that period, if somebody decides to return something because it doesn't fit, or they just changed their mind, or they found it somewhere else, then eBay's actually going to pick up the tab for the return shipping on those things. For this promotion. And this is for just some eligible categories. That's like clothing, shoes, which that's everything that I sell, handbags, watches, and jewelry. And so if you are in any of those categories, like go check your eBay messages and see if you got that promotion, because if you're super nervous about the idea of doing free returns, you can try it out for the next month. And if it goes well, then keep doing it. If it's everything you were scared it was going to be, then you can change back to paid returns. But I think that's a really great way to kind of test the waters and see if it's going to be, if it's something that's going to work out for you. All right, what's happening over here? Yeah, and hello, Lori from New York. All right, so yeah, because the reality is not every policy is going to be like fitting for 100% of the items, 100% of sellers. And I think eBay understands that. Like they're trying to make things work for the majority of us. And sometimes, you know, you're going to have to like figure out, like navigate, like what's going to work for you. But please don't freak out. Just breathe. If you have a cat, if you have a dog, give them a little pet session. Calm yourself, calm your nerves. It's going to be okay. The ultimate bottom line is that we're here to make money. eBay's here to make money. eBay's here to support us making money. The better we do, the better they do. We're all one big happy family, and they want us to be successful just like we want to be successful. And they also listen. You know, eBay's not perfect. They made mistakes before, and they have a track record for recognizing when they make mistakes and listening to their sellers. And I think that's really awesome. I think it's important that a successful company takes some risks, goes out on the limb and tries different things. But in order to do that, like sometimes they have to be ready to make a mistake sometimes, you know. And I, for one, want to kind of like go out and do innovative things with them. Instead of digging in my heels and being scared about how it's going to hurt me, I want to get it on it too. So let's see, what else is going on with you guys? Does anybody have any specific things that they're worried about, or anything else that's in the seller update that you want me to talk about? Let's see. As you guys were talking with Audrey about how to find your return rates. I got 20 viewers. Woohoo! That's crazy. CW asked how I'm liking Vegas. I love Vegas. I've been like a little annoyed because like the last couple of weeks it's been like super cold, and I'm like, I was told it was going to be hot here. I was told I was going to be so hot I wouldn't be able to stand it. And instead, I've been wearing like this bomber jacket with like this faux fur collar every day for like the last couple of weeks, and I think that's ridiculous. I think I was duped, and I'm wondering if it ever for eBay opened this last summer, and at that time I believe it was about 1,000,000 degrees outside, so I know it does get crazy hot, but I'm like ready for the sunshine. Starter store is definitely, I think the starter store is awesome. So if anyone hasn't seen the information about that, I think the starter store is, you get like 100 listings instead of the 250 listings that like a basic store gets. And the price is really awesome. It's like, I think if you sign up for the whole year, it's like $5. And if you do it month to month, it's like $8 a month. Which I think is great to just kind of dip your toes in, because I know one of the things you always see people asking is like, when should I try doing a basic store? And they're kind of nervous about it. And they're not quite ready to like leap into having 250 listings. And so I think it's like the perfect little stepping stone. And I will say I am one of the people who is going to continue to like whine and cry and wish that they would have a store in between Premium and Anchor Store. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but I'm going to keep saying I want it, It would be super awesome. And I know there's a lot of other people that would love to see it. But I think it's really cool that they have the starter store. So that's pretty cool. Thanks, Audrey. It is weird doing the live video and trying to like balance, like looking at what people are saying. Looks like Lorna's crying with me. And so anyway, so is anybody else have any other thoughts about the update? Let's see, what else were the things that were going? I know that like with, let's see, with the category stuff, I haven't looked too much into that just because I know it's not really going to affect a lot of the used like clothing stuff right now. I'm sure at some point I will be forced into it a little bit more, but I do some new stuff. So on that stuff, I always put in like the UPCs and everything for it. Let's see. I know that, well, there's the ending of the restocking fee. So I'm sure maybe some of you guys use restocking fees, and so you can't do that anymore. But I would have told you don't do it anyway. My motto has always been to remove all obstacles, make it as super easy as possible for a buyer to come to you and to buy your stuff. And so that means, you know, accepting returns, you know, maybe not free returns if you're too scared to right this second, but at least accepting returns, not having a restocking fee, like doing stuff like free shipping, shipping internationally, like doing everything you possibly can to make it super easy for people to buy from you. The more you open your doors, the easier it is for people to get inside. And so I think that the restocking fee doesn't really do anything other than discourage people from buying from you. I was listening to eBay Radio Live earlier, and Griff made the comment about when he sees, you know, other people are selling something that he's listing and he sees that they don't accept returns, he's always like, well, it just makes it easier for him to sell. And you know what? I do the exact same thing. When I am listing a new product, I'm trying to figure out, you know, what I want to price it at. And I go and I see other listings. You know, sometimes I'll see other listings and I'm like, oh, they're kind of pricing it lower than I want to sell mine for. And then I'll go and click on it and I look and then I see seller does not accept returns. And I'm like, yes, because then I know that I can sell mine for higher because there are a lot of buyers out there who will not buy from you if you don't take returns and if you charge a restocking fee. So I think it's actually a really good thing that they're taking that completely away. Let's see, how are you going to accommodate the return shipping fees? Will you increase your pricing? Okay, so let's kind of, let me go back to, so with me, like when I very first started out with selling on eBay, I did free shipping on everything. And I was like hardcore about like, you should do free shipping, free shipping, free shipping. And then at some point, I'm not really sure like when the shift happened, but at some point I decided, you know what, I sell a lot of kind of more unique items, more collectible clothing, like vintage. And I decided that people would be willing to pay shipping. And so I changed everything to where I was doing free shipping for anything under £1. And I was charging for shipping for everything over that. And, you know, it was fine. Like people were still paying it. But recently, when I decided to kind of change everything and do free returns and all of that, I decided I went like basically across the board, everything that was over £1, I went and raised my prices. I did mine by $20 just across the board. But to be fair, like the stuff that I sell tends to be a little bit higher priced. So $20 across the board. And I'm always running like big sales. I run like 40 to 50% off sales. So I raised my prices across the board for everything that was over £1, switched over to free shipping. And then I switched to free returns. And I did that for everything and free 30-day returns. And so really my price increase was more to cover the free shipping change. But it kind of all goes together. But I keep hearing people talk about like how to, you can up your prices to cover the free returns. Personally, I firmly believe that having free returns is going to lead to more sales, and it's going to lead to more sales than it's going to lead to more returns. I think it will lead to more returns to a certain degree, but I think that the impact on your sales are going to be higher. And so I don't necessarily believe that you need to raise your prices to cover any return costs because you're paying for returns, if that makes sense. There really is a lot of studies around the psychology of buyers. And, you know, there's two things that they say that contribute to higher sales when it comes to return policies. And one of them is more lenient return policies. So having it to be like a longer period of time, you know, not having it be like 14 days, have it be like 30 days, even 60 days, like the longer time people have to return something, the less likely it is that they return it. And that's either because they forget to return it, or there's also, I can't remember the name of it, but there's this effect where the longer they have it in their hands, the more attached they get to it. And so then they kind of like it. And then they're like, I don't think I want to return it. And so it's more lenient policies, and it's also how much money they are going to get back. So whether it's they're going to get a full return of their money, or if they're going to get a partial return of their money, the more of their own money they're going to get back when they return it, the more likely they are to buy. So those are the two things, is kind of like the leniency of the policy and the money back in their pocket. So anyway, so that's my really, really long answer. Okay, let's see. Leah Solomon says, I'm unclear if we will have to pay return postage on first-class international orders if we want to remain top rated. As far as I know, I think they touched on this in the eBay radio live show. As far as I know, they said that that would be a separate thing. So I don't believe that that has anything to do with your top rated status. You won't have to pay. I mean, I think that it's not in there right now in your return policy, but they're going to have it where you can change it to where it's buyer paid returns for international. And I think you just have to have, domestically, you have to have it free returns in order to get that status. Let's see. Anyway, so I've just rambled on a whole bunch. So if, does anybody else have anything they want to say or anything that they want to ask about? Otherwise, I'm going to go off of the live here, just because you don't want to just see me sitting here rambling along. Anybody? Thank you guys so much for coming. I got 24 viewers. Holy cannoli. But I really appreciate you guys coming and chatting with me. And if you're enjoying the whole live thing as opposed to the regular way I do videos, I can do more of these and maybe have a little bit more content planned out. But I kind of wanted to jump on this just because, you know, I've been hearing a lot of people be really freaked out, and I get it with the free returns thing. I think it's a bigger leap for a lot of people to take, so it does sound really scary. And so I just kind of wanted to get on here and hopefully kind of calm some people down. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a really good thing. I get people being concerned, but please, you know, go check out your messages, try out that promotion. So you can at least test it out if you fall within any of those categories: the clothing, shoes, handbags, watches, jewelry. At least test out the free return thing and see how it works for you. See what happens over the next month and see if it helps you out. And Vicky says, change is good. More buyers equals more sales. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming, and I will talk to y'all later. And I really appreciate your support, and have an awesome night. And switch over to free returns. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. All right, good.